Hang in there, folks. I will be right with you. We're about to start here in a minute. You're going to want to stick around. This one's going to be different than our normal chats. So just a moment. We're going to jump into it here in just a second. Got something new and different for you for a minute. This ain't just your average gaming session, so hang on just a moment. Stick with us. All right, folks, we're going to talk here for a minute. And this is going to be different than what you're normally used to on my channel. But we're actually going to lean towards one of the main purposes of why I even created the channel in the first place. Hence the name Cold Look Game Therapy. So we're going to bring the more therapy side of the gaming that I normally do. So it's going to be different. You might think it's weird. And if you do, if you can suffer through the weirdness, you might actually get a little something good out of what we're going to talk about. Okay? So just a moment. Okay, folks, here we go. I'm just going to jump right into it and start talking. Okay? Now, I want to preface it with this, though. On this channel, originally, I named this channel Cold Look, which is my gamer tag. I've had that gamer tag a long while, and I'm actually quite proud of it. I'm the OG Cold Look. You're not gonna see no Cold Look 80 or Cold Look 80 I had to choose for like a couple things, but when I'm actually gaming, it's Cold Look, the OG. There's no Cold Look 100, Cold Look 1000, Cold Look 2. Anyways, proud of that. But on a side note, let's jump over to something else. So, Cold Look Game Therapy. A little bit of an odd choice for a channel. Why would I name my channel Game Therapy? Well, I've had my channel for a couple of years now, and I've only started getting serious with the channel and gaming recently, in the last, like, say, year. And I've grown the channel to, you know, a modest, well, I wouldn't even say modest, a sad, like 180 subscribers on YouTube, and we're looking at about 94 right now on Twitch. Anyways, enough of myself and that part. I want to jump back to why I called the channel Cold Look Game Therapy. Well, I, for one, am willing to bring awareness to and admit that I have been diagnosed with bipolar. And I've been diagnosed with bipolar for quite some time now, to be honest. But I really wasn't really aware of it and diagnosed with it until I was in my 30s. I'm now a spry, good-looking, cocky, no, I'm just kidding, we'll get to that in a minute, 45-year-old. And part of me is being sarcastic about the good-looking part. Anyways, I will jump to the point, and I also have a cough. But what's about to happen is something I've been wanting to do but haven't done. So I'm going to attempt something different. I'm live streaming right now. And unfortunately I'm not this talented at the moment, I will not be playing a game, Monster Hunter, that you see in the background here, and we're hearing the Monster Hunter main page theme song. Partly because this Monster Hunter music, especially on this home page, soothes me. It's beautiful. Listen to it. It's calming. I could fall asleep to this Monster Hunter music. Anyways, it is calming, and that's going to help us with what we're going to be talking about today. Excuse me, and I got this cough. So not only am I going to try to talk about a hard subject known as, and like Mr. Rogers, I'm taking my shoes off to get a little more comfortable for this chat we're about to have. Also, because I am live streaming, you can actually type in the chat, and I'll hear it through my headset, and I can actually answer your questions live. So you got questions, or you just want to say hi or chime in or make fun of me, go feel free. I don't care. We're going to talk. Anyway, so I'm diagnosed with bipolar for a number of years. And even when I was a child, I'm pretty sure I had it. We'll on this channel, if I start doing this more often, we'll dive a lot deeper into, say, my childhood, what it was like to be a kid with bipolar, you know, the feelings I had then, the feelings I had now, you know. But having bipolar as a kid kind of led to, you know, being misunderstood. I think I got tagged as a, you know, troubled kid. I had behavioral issues. Ultimately, that wound up getting me transferred to, you know, alternate school that wasn't even close to my house. And I'm not making fun of this. I rode the short bus because I'm telling you, it literally was a short bus. Like, it was short, showed up at my house, honked or whatever it did. I got on and it drove me to another city where I went to school with people that I wasn't in the same neighborhood with, so I wasn't in my natural setting. And it was a behavioral unit. It was complete with even a box that they would put me in if I was angry. It literally, I am not lying about any of this, was padded with a little window. So it was basically like kind of like a little bit of a insane asylum sort of situation. I didn't have to go into it that much when I acted up in school. You know, especially in my classmates, with it being a behavioral unit, they would put you in this box. And back then, well, I would say even now, I don't necessarily approve of that part. It's kind of demeaning. Kind of made you feel, I don't know, made you feel like you're bad or what's wrong with me kind of thing. So we can get deeper into that another time, because actually I didn't want to like make this video today. Excuse me, I got a cough. About the negative aspects of bipolar. I didn't want to do that. So anyways, I'm just giving you a little history. Diagnosed with bipolar, and in my case it's bipolar type 2. Also, I am not a licensed therapist, and this probably isn't the place for me to like teach you all about bipolar, all the ins and the outs. Just know that there's more than one type. So more than one type of bipolar. The main one is like bipolar 1. And then, well, when I say main, that's probably not even right terminology. There's bipolar 1, there's bipolar 2. From my understanding, and if you're a real therapist, okay, you're gonna probably chew me up right now. You're gonna eat me alive on this. So if you wanna just sit and analyze and pick what I'm talking about apart, I don't know. Maybe I'd be rude enough to say go somewhere else, because this isn't the channel where, if you're coming to hear exact details, then go to an actual therapist. I don't even like to call myself a life coach, even though technically maybe that's what I'm attempting to do. I just kind of been annoyed with the term life coach being hijacked. Oh no, I'm just being negative now. Being hijacked by people that want to monetize it or make money with it, and might not even know. Never mind. Looking at life coach as a profession to get paid, that's not what I'm attempting to do. Although you could probably look at yourself and go, oh man, this guy's just trying to get paid. Alright, okay. Well, hey, what? Alright. We got our first people chiming in, and I just want to tell you, we're talking about bipolar today. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about the struggles of it, but I want to add a positive twist to it, and that's honestly the goal right now. But I probably wouldn't be making this video if I wasn't experiencing a bipolar manic episode right now. And I will explain real quick. I might as well jump into the explanation. Bipolar. Some people... Yo, I'm attempting to do something very hard. I hope you guys respect what I'm attempting to do here. I am talking about a hard subject, being mental health. Some people just tiptoe around it. They don't want to talk about it. It's taboo. you know, people misjudge people with mental health, or they all think, well, this person ought to be locked up, or why aren't they just on the street doing drugs or whatever. Okay, the sad part is a lot of that happens, and it's very real. Um, but there's also people that succeed, um, find what works for them, and I believe with mental health, you're likely. I like to be a realist. I don't try to I don't want to sugarcoat it or give you unrealistic ideas or falsely lead you. Yo, Wyvern. Yo, some of you are my. Oh, God. Okay, as I was trying to say, I'm attempting something hard right now, and that is to talk about a sensitive topic while live streaming. This isn't just me recording a video, this is live streaming with real people making comments in the chat, and I do whatever you type gets translated into my ear by a robot voice. So if you do want to, and I'm not calling you out, Yoke Wyvern. You are actually one of my friends. You're not just a rando in here. I'm not calling you out, but if you do want to make this hard for me to talk, you're succeeding. Okay, Wyvern. I'm gonna ask you to please hold down the comments. If you have a real question, then ask it. Because what I'm trying to say is, thank you, Feldafo. Because if you keep spamming the chat, I'll think it's funny. Okay? I actually... Well, yo, that makes... Okay. Yo, Yoke Wyvern, okay? You're one of my best friends and brothers, okay? Now's not the time to joke. Okay. Okay, thanks, Yoke. Because there is a time to joke, and that's usually when we're playing video games together. I'm actually trying to do a serious talk here. And I'm not trying to reprimand you, and part of me inside is laughing right now. Because I love to mess with people as well, you know? But I won't be able to get a word in edgewise while I'm manic, which means my brain is already skipping all over the place, 90 miles an hour, or actually probably even faster than that, okay? I'm already, imagine really bad ADHD, which I potentially also have that, but I think when you're manic, I'm not trying to compare here, but some people with bipolar might back me up. I think what you got is a normal baseline, ADHD person, okay? When you're actually full-blown manic, I would put money on the manic bipolar person. His thought process is even more active and split and jumping around than even the average case of or baseline of having ADHD or whatever, ADD, okay? Again, I'm trying to warn you, this isn't the place if you're coming for real therapy, all right? I call my channel Cold Look Game Therapy. That's because I'm actually trying to play games, have fun, reach out to people struggling with mental health. Try to have it be a positive place where people can be themselves, come together, talk mental health freely if they want, okay? But just have fun and meet good people. And that's what I've been doing with people like Yoke Wyvern and Corey Bryan and Fel Defoe, who's actually all watching right now. It seems like. Anyways, I have a real question for any of you that are still actively typing. Do you currently hear the Monster Hunter music in the background? That sweet, sweet Monster Hunter music, beautifully composed. Who hears it? Or did I reprimand the chat enough that you all left and now I'm talking to myself? Which, by the way, I'm actually fine talking to myself, so let's just keep talking. It's actually a little easier. Well, in Monster Hunter, I'm rolling low rank armor right now in answer to your question, Wyvern, because I've been playing a lot of different games. I'm bad at sticking to one game and like only one game and going hard on just one game. Okay, so sometimes it's almost too much for me. So I just play the game while I feel like playing the game, and one day I'll get there, I hope. But you already know me well enough to know that I don't beat a lot of games. Alright, thanks, Corey. So the music, I have it there on purpose. Well, I hear the Monster Hunter music and I put it on okay, so I put the Monster Hunter music in the background, and I even put this like backdrop screen. Okay, the whole reason I still have Monster Hunter banner / Monster Hunter music in the background is I'm trying to mend the gaming aspect of my channel, being a gaming channel lately primarily, and I'm trying to blend the game therapy part of it in by having a little bit of non-professional, I don't know if I have to sign a waiver, non-professional, non-certified therapist advice. What you're getting today is, if I can get to the point, by the way, that's if I can actually get to the point here. If I can get to the point, today you're going to be hearing from openly person dealing with mental health issues, primarily bipolar. And I'm trying to talk about bipolar and mend a little bit of something I'm familiar with, something that a lot of people that are like already members of my channel are familiar with, and that's gaming. So you got the gaming music in the background, a little bit of a gaming backdrop, but we are not playing games right now. Now, are we going to play games tonight? You better bet your bottom dollar we're going to be gaming tonight. It's TGIF, okay? It's Friday. We play games on Fridays. So if I could get through this little speech, get off my soapbox, then maybe we'll actually play some games. And I'm sorry to reprimand the chat. I want you to chat. I want you to ask questions, but don't interrupt. Just to interrupt. Don't be that kid that wants attention sitting in the classroom, just being annoying on purpose. Okay? Because that's the kid I used to be. And normally, what that means is you're missing some important parts of your life. Primarily, maybe you're seeking attention. And that's fine. This channel can talk about PTSD. We can talk about trauma. We can talk about all forms of mental health. But right now, we're going to focus on bipolar, kind of. Although, what I'm about to say probably lumps it all in anyway. And if you're wondering why I'm sitting here rambling, if I could jump back to the point. Bipolar. Let's explain it real quick without being, a therapist. You got your highs and your lows. That's why probably the name of it is bipolar, okay? Bi meaning like bicycle twice. Although I would say with bipolar, there's more than just two sides of it. But the primary, it's a toughie. Yep, mental health's a toughie, and I named my channel Cold Look Game Therapy because I wanted to play games, and I'm addicted to games. And I also want to put a positive spin on why games are actually okay to play, and why the old generation might say, "Well, you're wasting your time. You're squandering your life on these video games. You should take part in the real world more." I would argue that, and maybe we'll get to that tonight. I'm just gonna keep rambling. It's all clear. Let's jump back. Let's get back to the point here. Bipolar. Why did they name it bipolar? Well, I think it's because primarily with bipolar, I would say got three stages, but the two that make life hard is you got the polar opposite of being basically high, okay, on a high note per se, maybe good mood. I would struggle to say this is the better side. We'll get to that in a minute. But your energy's really high, let's say that. Your mental state or your attitude might actually be positive. But there's negative things about it. We'll get to those. And then the opposite side would be like depression. Downward spiraling towards negativity. Maybe even the biggest fear is like it being as bad as like committing suicide or whatever. At a very extreme, which is one of the main fears, though, why people like to correct the effects of bipolar in their life is because it is serious. It's not meant to be taken lightly. But if you think about it, you got the North Pole and the South Pole. So maybe they named it bipolar because of polar opposite. Yeah. Anyways, you might think I'm talking down to you. Anyways, all right. I'm not teaching children, I assume. So maybe. I agree with you. One thing that might be hard if you're viewing this and you're not actually reading the chat along with it, you'll get what I'm talking about more if you got the chat pulled up as well and you're kind of reading what your co-listeners, classmates, if I could be so presumptuous to assume I'm a teacher, are saying. So we got Corey says, people who say gaming is a waste of life just have played the wrong, just haven't played the right games, and usually are assholes. I normally do swear on this channel. I do. Swearing is something that happens on this channel, but I try to keep it to a minimum. But I'm definitely not gonna not swear sometimes, especially if I get passionate. When I'm gaming, I swear without even knowing. Anyways, why am I defending Corey for saying asshole? I really don't need to. He doesn't want me to defend him for saying it. He's perfectly fine. He's perfect. Ish. I like, Feldefoe says, if you're not already reading it, facts, keeps me sane-ish. And you know what one of my favorite parts about that word, if it even is in the dictionary? Sane-ish. And it's so funny to add ish onto anything. Ish. You know, using the word ish or adding ish to the end of a word, I think it's awesome. Because there is no black and white when it comes to emotions or even the world, like personality. You can't pin someone to being this, they're this, or that person's that. Right? We're all human. We're all complicated beings. Yep. Okay, so like, you can't put people in a box like my, if you were watching since the beginning, I was telling you in my troubled childhood, I was in a behavior unit, and they actually did throw me in a padded box. And then this is in a public school, by the way, except for it was just in a specialty department. So I went to like a real stupid word. Forgive me on these words. I went to a school that had a program specifically for troubled or behavior kids. Like it was like having like an IEP or special education, but with the added factor of you being troubled or more likely to act out, punch someone, push, be a bully, although I never was, not in my opinion. I'm like Batman here. Look in the background here. Let's talk for a minute. Why do I have a freaking huge Batman picture behind me? You know why? Because my whole life I've been a vigilante. Okay? You wanna know what? And I'm not trying to brag here. I got in a lot of fights. And you know what? I think I won 90% of them. Although, for the sake of this video, I will scrub this out, and I will edit the hell out of this video, and I will make sure that me even admitting I lost one fight gets edited out. Okay? But I won 90% of my fights. Okay? Not to brag. But why Batman? Why is Batman my favorite character? Because some people can't defend themselves. Okay? Some people can't defend themselves. Maybe they're in a wheelchair. I'm not going to rule out that they could. Maybe they could run over to your toe or punch you in the balls. They're about the right height, aren't they? Yeah, I'd say. They could win fight. They teach the weak to just go for the balls first. Sometimes sometimes it might be frowned upon as a weak move, cheap move. It's probably not one I even would use, just out of respect, But, Batman, let's get back to it. Now, I was in this troubled school for kids that are troubled. Yep. I'm going to read Yoke Riven's comment here in a second. Okay, I'm going to read two comments real quick because I think they're important. So we had the OK Wyvern make a comment, and then shortly after we had Corey Bryan make a comment. So let's read them real quick because some of you might not know how to read or you're not reading the chat. Okay, sorry. Okay, Yoki Wyvern, and I hope he's okay saying that. Me saying this. I'm only going to say he knows what he's talking about. I'll just leave it at that, okay? I'll leave it up to him if he wants to disclose whatever he wants to disclose. But the OK Wyvern is definitely someone who's definitely earned the right to talk about foster care. So he says, foster kids definitely are put in a box, whether it be kids or adults. Most foster kids are assumed to end up in prison or homeless. There really is no in between. And for context, we're talking about being troubled or having a troubled childhood. And then Corey Bryan says, I was never violent, okay, but I said things and drew pictures horrifically violent to propose. I hope I'm okay. Am I okay reading this stuff? I mean, you wrote it, so I guess I can read it, right? And draw pictures horrifically violent on purpose to freak out the adults. And sometimes I know exactly what you're talking about. And when we say adults, I could substitute that word, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, with authority figures. Yep, put in programs. I was put in this troubled youth class type thing, which ultimately was sort of embarrassing, to be honest. You know what? You know what's making me really happy right now? We got people watching this as I live talk about mental health, and I'm trying to bring mental health awareness to people. And you know what? I got all these people in here being open. I mean, that's my goal. Like, I just want people to be honest with the world. Like, there's too much, like, misperception, or people being like mental health not being understood, or people being too scared to talk about it. Okay? And I'm lucky enough to have multiple people in my chat right now. If you'll go ahead and read what's being said, or I'll try to reread at least a few of the comments that pertain to what we're talking about. Although this is making it really hard for me to jump to my main point of this video, which was to put a positive spin on having mental health or bipolar. So maybe I should actually jump to the point of that, get that out of the way, then we can open up a greater conversation. Just have open chat real quick. Because I was going to see if I could make a short out of what I wanted to say, which basically only allows you 3 minutes max. You know, because shorts get seen by more people. Like, YouTube shorts get like 500 views in like 24 hours. And I wouldn't be making it for the glory or the fame or whatever. My channel's not even close to being monetized. I'm making jack diddle squat. In fact, I'm actually making less money while talking about this than I could be if I was like doing some of my graphic design and actually taking this hour to you know, to design something that I could sell. Okay, but right now we're talking because I actually want to talk mental health and bring awareness to it. And I jumped off the point by just there really hard, but I back to what I think I was saying. I got people in my chat right now already opening up and sharing about their struggles with mental health, and that makes me happy. You know, because one of the worst things I don't like to see is people suffer on their own because they're too afraid to admit they have mental health issues or had struggles. Let's just be honest, the world often can suck really bad. And I don't want to be negative, but yeah, I don't know if the percentage of good parts about life outweighs the bad parts about life. Actually, I don't think two people's life experience could even be compared to another's, and we'll get into that on this channel as well. Okay, but I'm happy to see people talking and talking about it. But let's go back. Corey said, oh yeah, he had mentioned that sometimes he drew violent pictures or said things to freak the adults out. And I was saying that I want to substitute the word adult with authority figure. Because if you've got any, like, say, PTSD or trauma in your life, and I can speak to that real quick too. I also want to clear my parents' name real quick. So I had some, I wouldn't say like large amounts, and I wouldn't even say you know, even close to as bad as some people have it in life. But I did have some physical abuse, and it wasn't at the hands of my parents. Okay, I'm clearing their name. It was at the hands of like a daycare teacher, and then this one's a little harder to say, but again, I'm trying to be an open book. I was sexually abused as well, and that wasn't by my parents or even like a really close family member, thank God. Okay, because I think it complicates things like way more if it's with a family member or whatever, not someone you can easily just walk away from and never see again and get them out of your life. Okay, so I thank God every day that it wasn't like someone that I'm like binded to, you know, by blood, or have to see the rest of my life. Okay, my abusers are long gone. They've been out of my life for years. Okay, so anyways, I want to back to my authority figure aspect to this. Yeah, you could say adults, but you could also just say anyone that you presumed to have authority over you. I had big trouble with them because, you know, let's take the daycare person as an example. They were an adult, okay, but they were an authority figure per se, or they were someone that was supposed to be looking after me, taking care of me, if you will. And so the fact that they wound up abusing me would be a very big moment in your life where someone that's supposed to have your best interests, supposed to be protecting you, does not only that, but does the opposite of that. You know? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to look at it like, okay, an authority figure, someone that was meant to be helping me, actually hurt me. So guess what? Next time some school teacher comes along and tries to tell you what to do, or like claim to be looking after you, you're not going to believe them. And if you have multiple cases in your life of being abused, then even more and more, people keep proving to you that they say they can help you, they say they're there to look after you, and they prove to you that they actually can hurt you. But I do want to get into the part, jumping back just a little bit. No person is 100% bad, in my opinion, or good. Okay? Even my abusers, this is where, like, we might get into a religion, but I'm not really. I'm going to try to steer away from religion and just speak in more general terms. But this is where, like, forgiveness comes in. This is where, like, being the better man, for lack of a better term, the better person, the better woman, whatever, kicks in. Like, and it takes time to heal. Like, and no one's gonna judge you if you can't do it right away. No one's even gonna, like, in my opinion, no one on my channel is gonna say you have to forgive your abuser in any type of timeline. You might not do it in this lifetime or whatever. It's just my hope is you would at some point for your own relief, because it feels, when you can liberate yourself from the anger and constantly blaming your abuser, it just goes a long way to helping yourself, right? What's my point? I think even if, say, in my case, my daycare provider, like, smacked me upside the head and pulled a handful of hair out of my head, or, like, threw me in the corner, or, like, put me in a headlock, did, things that are actually physical abuse, it doesn't mean they're not got aspects of their life that they're good, okay? They're not 100% bad person. They were kids once too. They were somebody's son or daughter. They have people they love. They probably, tipped someone extra big, or, like, fed a homeless person at one point, even if they smacked you upside the head, okay? On another occasion. Okay? Not all bad. So I think the sooner you could, like, try to get a bigger perspective of the people that you're angry at. Unfortunately, we can't do this, but if you were a fly on that wall, or the old term, this is probably the best thing to say, the old term, walk a mile in someone else's shoes. Because I've been angry before, real angry, okay? I'm proud to say I don't believe I've physically been abusive, although I've been in fights, where I've hit people or whatever, like in a fight. But anyways, not all people are either positive or negative or 100%, like a villain. Okay, and what kind of, let's jump to a thought. When we go to movies, they've been really good lately at taking, like, a villain, or, like, oh, I'm gonna throw a random out there. Say the Pirates of the Caribbean guy, okay, Johnny Depp or whatever. The dude's a pirate, okay? He steals from people. He probably killed people, even though it's like a Disney show. I'm trying to remember if he did kill anyone on screen or not. But anyways, but when you hear someone's backstory and you walk a mile in their shoes, even if they were your attacker, your abuser, there is room for forgiveness at some level, to perhaps be able to say they're not all bad. Okay, I just went on a long tangent, and if you're just joining us, good luck getting caught up. So if you're just joining right now, which I think I saw two people just join the chat, you might want to back up and watch the rest of it later, um, or just get into the moment, settle in, and just try to catch on to what we're talking about right now. You know, uh, I need to jump back pretty far real quick. I am a 45-year-old person dealing with bipolar. I have bipolar, or at least I've been diagnosed with it. Okay. And today I want to put a positive spin on it, although I haven't gotten to that yet, but I plan to get to it. Bipolar, you basically have two sides of it. You got high energy, which might look like like even happiness or anxiety, whatever it is. You got high energy and you got low energy. Basically, bipolar, think of it as a roller coaster ride. Okay? Roller coaster ride. You got the highs and the lows. Okay? The problem with bipolar is if you're really, really high energy, which I am right now, by the way. This week I've been on a bipolar manic episode, which is like I've had so much energy this week that I like talk, non-stop talking. Okay, not only that, I have so much energy that I can go without eating. Like, I don't feel like I need food. When I'm manic, I don't even like get that hungry. Even though I'm running laps around people when it comes to energy, or especially if you're just going to compare it with yourself. Like, dude, the bipolar me has two sides. One's like really, really low energy, and like you barely even want to get out of bed. You don't even really, to be honest, and we're talking about hard subjects here, even necessarily even want to live life or think it's worth it. And that's another reason why we're here, is I definitely want to avoid having I'm trying to help people that might feel so negatively about life that they would even consider that. Okay. I've lost people to that. Close people in my life have, committed suicide, and I'll try not to be too personal and like I definitely won't throw names out or anything. I'll try to be a little vague about it, but there's people, okay? Trying to avoid that. And let's be honest for a minute. I've been there too. I've been so down or depressed that I'm willing to just admit, thought about it, okay? So that's at the darkest moments. You don't have enough energy to get out of bed. You're like thinking to yourself, what the hell's the point? Nothing really brings you happiness. You feel like you're in a dark hole or in a cloud or a mist. For myself, if we're going to talk about suicide real quick, hard subject to be on, but if we're going to talk about it, for myself, the problem is you look at the world and you go like, okay, am I better off for the people I love here, or would I be better off not here? So you're kind of weighing like am I more harm than good? That's the words I'm looking for. It's like, well, if I'm more harm than good, if I'm causing like the people I love more pain, or more, if I'm if I feel like I'm being more trouble to them than than I am good to them, that's when I get the most depressed and think to myself like, well, what's the point, you know? And because I love people and I love the people around me in a sick way, I'm gonna say sick way. You're not thinking with your clear mind. You might be thinking to yourself, well, I'm not helping anybody by being here. Okay. I hope you're not just joining the conversation right now because that seems very negative. But anyways, highs and lows. Roller coaster ride. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Problem with bipolar is you might have really high energy. It might look like being really happy or having a lot of fun. But if in the mind, and I'll try to get into this, not this video, but maybe others, in the mind of when you're bipolar and your manic side, your mind's racing. You're going 90 miles an hour, and you can't stop on one thought and actually like think about it long enough because you're already jumping to the next idea. Or like you're trying to talk to someone, and you and that this is what I'm doing right now. By the way, you're on like one point, and you're trying to make a point or finish a conversation, but then your mind jumps to another thing. But here's the deal: it's exhausting. And not only that, it's exhausting for the people that you're talking to. Like, you might think it's fine in like spurts. Like you might think, well, no, you know, I think it's fun to talk to you. Yeah, I like when you talk a lot. Try living with me. Try the other day getting home from work, not taking your shoes off. Maybe my coat made it next to me, and you talk with family members and loved ones until you get home at 4 p.m. and you're still talking without much of a break by 11 p.m. Then you realize you haven't eaten dinner and you haven't showered and you have work the next day. And you can't do anything about it. Now you get in bed and you're still thinking, and you're still not tired, and you're still even not hungry. You can only do this and sustain this unhuman-like behavior for so long until your body actually will shut down and you actually will potentially like run yourself into the ground pretty much. So what happens is you're on this roller coaster and you're on this high energy, and then all of a sudden that energy drops. And it's like the rug gets pulled out from under you. Now all of a sudden, instead of, if you can see my hand, now all of a sudden, instead of like on a ride, like what might be normal, like you have a bad day, good day, blah, 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 normal, blah, blah, kind of average stuff. But if you're bipolar, you're like on this high energy, and then when you can't sustain it anymore, or your body stops producing the chemical that's making you that way, you drop like a roller coaster does. The scariest part about bipolar is, I think, is when you're manic, you're making other people's lives and your own life like hectic. When you fall off of that cliff or go down that steep hill, it's like when you're at the bottom, you might look back and you might think about yesterday and you're like, what's wrong with me? Yesterday I had so much energy and I was like so confident, and I was talking to people, and I was like joking and laughing and blah blah blah, and people were really liking it. Well, the problem is they may have been liking it, or they might have been thinking to themselves like, oh, what's wrong with this person? Why won't they stop talking? I sometimes, when I'm manic, I do notice these rude people, although I actually say that jokingly. I'm actually saying good on them. They have the balls or the willingness to like look at their watch. They're like kind of, and they're not rude. They're not like rude enough to say, "Yeah, you're talking a lot," but they'll, they'll look at their watch. Just glance up at the clock, ever so slight, just enough to say, "Yeah, you've been talking a while." But as the person that's manic, you're thinking like, "Oh yeah, they love what I'm saying. Oh yeah, this conversation is going great." Anyways, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But in your mind, it is. Back to the point. So, here you are. Having a high, you drop to the low, and the whole point, which I could have said in just a few minutes or less, is the lows feel very low just because the day before you were on a high. And the problem with feeling very low means you fell from a much higher height. Therefore, that fall hurts way more than if you were on a small roller coaster barely going. Because the higher you get, the harder you fall. So that's why, like, the bipolar lows or the depression side of bipolar is so dangerous. So I think I can jump off that point and try to get to another point. So why in the world would I name this video Mental Health Awareness, a Positive Outlook on Bipolar? Okay, we're going to get a little bit spiritual now. Or we're going to be a little bit, what's the term for it? Not religious. Okay, not religious. Spiritual for a minute. I firmly believe that life is not for nothing. And I think I'm happy every day knowing that I at least believe life isn't pointless. Now, when I'm depressed, sometimes it actually does feel pointless. But when I'm not depressed, I am happy to at least have the awareness that I don't believe life is like pointless. So I'm going to give you a quick explanation of what I think the purpose of life is. Alright? This is where some of you watching might just bail out. But, oh, screw this. I'm out. Okay? Don't leave, please, I hope. Okay. How can you deny that life is an experience, right? We're experiencing things. Good, bad, whatever. Whether you're having a good day or a bad day, you're still experiencing something. And what you have to ask yourself is experiencing something better than nothing? Well, sometimes if you're having a really, really bad day, you might say, well, Josh, or Cold Look here, some days I'm having a bad enough day that I would rather be experiencing nothing. But I want to take the big picture, okay? Generally speaking, being able to experience something, look out the window and see something there, or feel something, even if it's as simple as a breeze on your face or a bird cheeping, being able to at least pick out, like, even if it's just one damn thing that you enjoy, tell yourself, would you rather have had absolutely no experience ever and not know anything at all or of anything at all? Or would you rather at least say you, you're happy to at least be able to smell, you're happy to at least be able to see or hear or feel or touch or feel the better things are emotions, you know? Maybe you're lucky enough to feel love. Would you trade that? All right. So, anyways, if I'm at all making sense, I would take experience over feeling nothing or it being nothing. Okay. The point. Why is bipolar potentially have a positive side? What is this positive that I might be able to bring up right now? All right, bipolar. We got to jump back real quick and just think. Bipolar is experiencing polar opposites, like really, really high energy, really, really low energy, really, really good mood, very, very bad mood. Okay? I could have summed this video up this quick. The positive side of bipolar might be that in the average human life, you know, somewhere between like, and I don't know, I'm going to throw out just random numbers here. We could look up the actual one, or if someone in chat wants to look it up, what is the average life expectancy, you know, right now? You could be that cool guy that looks it up right now and puts it in chat, okay? But anyways, the number I'm just going to throw out is, let's say the average human these days lives, say 50 years, God loving, to 90 would be really extreme, I would think, in today's world with all the preservatives in our food. We're not going to get into it. Okay, point being, the average Joe or one Armor Andy or whatever maybe gets, if they're lucky, 80 years. Okay, now if the point of life is to experience things, and that's what we're here for, then maybe somebody with bipolar, I'm not going to say maybe, it's actually true. Someone with bipolar experiencing highs and lows at such a rapid rate is on a fast track to experience. If the point of life is to experience things, then you, my friend, with bipolar or even other mental health issues, get to experience at a higher, faster pace. It doesn't make you better then. In fact, I wouldn't wish it upon my enemies. I'm not trying to make us sound like we're like, now all of a sudden we're better than other people because we experience more in a faster way. It doesn't make us better. Definitely. I wouldn't trade it. Maybe these highs and lows suck. But I think the positive twist is you cram more experience into the 80 years, God loving, than someone that might not have bipolar that lives 80 years. I'm going to shut up just for a second and ask anyone in chat if they get what the hell I'm talking about. Am I making any kind of sense right now? Feel free to say I'm not, because I'm definitely having a bipolar manic episode, and so maybe I'm not making sense. maybe my voice is so soothing that you've actually fallen asleep. Or actually, we should give credit to the Monster Hunter soundtrack in the background being so beautiful that you're asleep right now. Well, nobody in chat's commenting, so I'm just going to assume I'm making all kinds of sense. But real quick, just back to that main point I want to make towards the end of this video is if you're going through mental health or you have bipolar and you're experiencing highs and lows at a very rapid rate, then the positive twist is that you, my friend, are cramming more experience into less time. And that's my positive twist. I'm gonna see if I can find a book real quick. I'm looking for a book that I can quote from. And it's gonna take me to get to the right page. I think there's this book called, and I love it. It's my dad's favorite, one of his favorites. It's called The Prophet. And again, we're not getting into religion here. But the book's called The Prophet, and it's by. Just want to look up something. I'm going to read you the Joy and Sorrow chapter. It's not that long. It's a poem book. Let me go to page 32. Page 32. This isn't scriptures, by the way. This is a poem. And I'm coughing. I'm sorry. All right. So supposedly in this book, this gentleman, that it's a really old book, but this gentleman that they're actually calling a prophet per se, let's just say a wise man. I'm actually going to just, so you don't freak out, I'm going to say a wise man. A wise man was talking to a big group of people, or a guru, and I'm going to read it here. Then a woman that was in the crowd said, "Speak to us of joy and sorrow." And the wise man answered, and he says, "Your joy is your sorrow unmasked, and the self-same well from which your laughter rises oftentimes filled your tears. And how else can it be? The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain." So what are we saying here? It's let's get to just experience. Imagine yourself being like a piece of clay or a rock or something. Well, essentially what he's saying is your sorrow carves into your rock, or makes hollow points perhaps in your experience, and that could be negatively presumed to be a negative, right? But it says the deeper that your sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. Okay, so a container, if it's not hollowed out, like say water doesn't carve its way into a mountain, or like carve a hollow out of the earth, then it can't be filled with water or filled with something. It can't be filled with love or filled in with something if it's not even there. If the carved out hollow isn't there, then you're not going to be able to take in more joy. Are we following me? Okay. Is not a cup that holds your wine the very cup that was burned in the potter's oven? And is not the lute that soothes your spirit the very wood that was hollowed with knives? When you are joyous, look deep into your heart, and you shall find it is only that which has given you sorrow that is giving you joy. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. Some of you say, joy is greater than sorrow. And others say, nay, which means no, sorrow is the greater. But I say unto you, and this isn't a scripture, by the way, it just sounds like it. But I say unto you, or I say to you, they are interceptible. Together they come. And when one sits alone with you at your board, remember that the other is asleep upon your bed. Verily, you are suspended like scales between your sorrow and your joy. Only when you are empty are you at stand still and balanced. When the treasure keeper lifts you to weigh his gold and his silver, needs must your joy or your sorrow rise or fall. Okay, so anyways, if you're bored, I get it. Okay, we've been talking a lot. I don't even know how long this video's been. But if you missed some of it and you're just joining us, I encourage you to go back and watch the whole thing when it goes live here again shortly after we finish up this video. Now I want to open up the conversation to anyone that's in chat that has questions, comments, complaints, tips, tricks. How has this conversation been? Or what do you want to say after all that? I'll give you like 1 minute to listen to the music and try to respond to my question of what would you like to say after I've went on and on for the last little bit. And until someone says something, let's sit back and listen to this beautiful Monster Hunter music. Okay, well, I want to say thanks for watching. Some of the topics we talked about might be hard to hear or hard to talk about. I want you to know on this channel, which by the way is called Game Therapy, Cold Look being my gamer tag, Game Therapy being the kind of the point of the channel. On YouTube we are Cold Look Game Therapy, and on Twitch we are Game Therapy _ Cold Look. On this channel we play video games nearly every day. And what I want to do is start getting to the reason why I made this channel and start talking about mental health. And some days we'll be playing games and talking about mental health at the same time. However, right now we kind of just had the Monster Hunter theme music and the Monster Hunter home screen background just kind of as backdrop for me talking about mental health and bringing awareness to that. And we ended this video by maybe throwing out a little positiveness about why you might be suffering with mental health. And the gist of it was that, hard times make character. It builds character to have hard times. And just like the little chapter we read, like a knife, whittling a piece of wood. If you're the piece of wood, just think about a knife cutting into you. That's kind of painful. But the ultimate result is that it might get carved into something beautiful. Might be something worth looking at, and not just a plain old piece of wood, just like the beautiful mountains, the wind and the rain and the water and all the elements. Basically it beat it up and carved it out and all that, and then when you look upon it you're like, oh wow, that's a cool. See, the more gnarly, okay, let's take this for example. Look at the Monster Hunter background we're looking at right now. Okay, you see the smoke and the pillars and the lava and see that cool rock right there just above the monster's N jetting up. Okay, that rock got carved out. It had bad days. The wind, the rain, all that took parts of it away. It carved the hell out of it. But now look at it. It's something to look upon. It's something cool. It's better than just a lump, although we don't like to use better than on this channel very much. It's more interesting than just a blob of rock. So there's been your positive twist. Alright, there's been your positive twist on why we deal with hard times and some of the good things that come from it. Alright, love you all. Glad we could talk. I'm here for you. Even if I'm not streaming, you could ask a question or reach out to me like through the chat on the channel. I hope this has been good for you and it's been something new you can do. Now I'm gonna go shower or whatever, and not that it's your business, and then I'm probably gonna jump back on and play some video games. Gotta make sure my daughter didn't call and say she wants to be picked up because I dropped her off, and I don't want to forget about her. Uh-oh. Oh, she did text. Alright, I gotta go. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Live life. It's good. It can be good.